So the defensive backs, this is a fun group who brings a lot back and then loses a lot at the same time. So this is kind of interesting to look at because you have two really high draft picks and two stars on this team in cornerback Joey Porter Jr., who the 32nd pick of the draft, which was technically the first pick of the second round this year, and Jair Brown, who was a third-round selection by the 49ers, led the team in tackles and interceptions, I think 2 years in a row now. So you got two key returners at corner, Kalen King, 3 interceptions, 16 pass breakups last year, and then Johnny Dixon, who filled in when Porter got his appendix out and then sat out at the Rose Bowl, 2 interceptions, 10 pass breakups last year. A couple newcomers, Oddvavian, I guess is how you say that, Collins, transfer from Mississippi State, and then King Mack, kind of nickel safety type guy, top 100 recruit in the recruiting class.
This team, this group, I think, is at least within Kalen King, Johnny Dixon, Daquan Hardy, is probably one of the 3 best, or one of the top 10 cornerback units in the country. Like we were talking about today in the group chat, we'll see, who steps up for safety after Tig Brown left and Jaquan Brisker before him. But you've got guys like Jalen Reed and Zachy Wheatley, who did some really nice things last year. I personally really, really like this unit, and I think much higher on it than Tyler is.
It's not that I'm not high on them. I think it's kind of looking at, I don't know, maybe even like receivers, but they got a little bit more coming back. This group's talented as hell. We know it. I mean, Kalen King's going to be a first-round pick. If he's not, then I don't know what's up with Penn Staters and first-round D-backs, but he's got to be a first-round pick at the way he's been playing. Johnny Dixon is way better than a lot of people think he is, and he played phenomenal last year when Porter was out. He's kind of the guy that takes those chances, and yeah, he's going to get burned at times, but he's also going to come up with crucial plays and a key breakup or a key pick at times. So I'll take that all the time on the outside. It's just the nature of the cornerback position nowadays. Hardy, he didn't impress me a lot last year, I'll be honest. I mean, he was really good in 21. He had 2 or 3 picks in 21. And then last year, it seemed like he was almost a liability, and he's always a step late. And maybe that's just adjusting to the new defense, but hopefully he gets back to that form. But then besides that, like Cam Miller played, but I don't really remember him doing anything of significance that I can trust him being that third outside corner. Low into safety. I mean, we got a lot of experience there, but we were so accustomed to having those game wreckers in the back that I don't know if we have that with going from Brisker to Tig. Keaton's played a ton of football. He's going on his 5th year here, and hopefully it's his time to step up. And he's always seemed like a guy that's also a step late. And I think now maybe being that 5th year, it's his 3rd year at safety. He can be that guy to actually catch the football when it comes to him and get that pick or lay it out and get somebody knock their head off. It's just I haven't seen it enough from these guys to say, oh, it's as good as it was last year.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Obviously, when you lose 2 high draft picks, 2 multi-year starters, obviously there's going to be a little bit of a downgrade at first, at least. But, kind of looking at what they're probably going with to start the season, obviously Kalen King's going to start. Collins probably backs him up, although I wouldn't be surprised if Elliott Washington, the 4-star recruit from last year, also kind of makes his way into this. Safety, Ellis probably starts. Kevin Winston Jr. is a guy everyone is super high on. I think he will definitely push for playing time. At the other safety spot, Jalen Reed or Zachy Wheatley, I feel is the right way to go. I think those guys will interchange, both very good. A little different. Wheatley, the ball hawk, former cornerback, whereas Reed, a little more, a heavy hitter guy. Obviously, Dixon at the other spot then. Cam Miller is probably his backup right now. I don't see anyone else really pushing that. Maybe Washington. I think these guys in Washington are the 5 you're really rolling with. And then at the nickelback, Daquan Hardy. I don't know if he has a true backup or not. Some people think it could be King Mack, actually. So maybe it's him. We'll see what happens there. But, yeah, this is kind of –
it depends on what happens with these safeties. And let's say, we have 3 that we really trust. Keaton's played the nickel last year, so you can see him rolling down there. Wheatley's obviously that ball hawk, so you can see him just roam in the middle. So it's really, if they're comfortable rolling one of those safeties down to put in the nickel position, and whether they're putting him down there to be a cover guy or whether they're putting him down there to be kind of a box and a zone guy, I think that's where that extra nickel can come.
Storm Duck transferred in from North Carolina, right? And then out to Louisville after spring. And then, so that's an interesting one, right? Because he was it was a pretty exciting transfer to get. So, when it comes to what the competition is like in the cornerback room, was he outshined by guys like Cam Miller, Daquan Hardy? Audio Vion Collins was not here yet, right? But
they brought him after that,
right? But was there so much competition that he wasn't going to get any playing time? In which case, if that's it, then you feel maybe a little bit better about Cam Miller, who did. I think he played as early as the Purdue game last year. So somehow, if I'm not mistaken, and I had no idea who he was, and it was a little bit frightening to see him in there because of that. But I think again, I trust very much the assessment of the coaches, that if they told Storm Duck, best name in college football, that it was time to go, then I don't know. You got to have a lot of faith in what comes back.
Yeah, the Storm Duck element is a little interesting because I know everyone and their mother makes their own rankings on Twitter, but someone had Storm Duck as their number 8 corner in the country, and that kind of raises our eyebrows in a way. It's like, whoa, if this guy is the number 8 corner in the country, which I don't know if he is, but if someone truly thinks that, and he was afraid of the competition coming from this room where he was threatened about not having a starting job, or that, to me, that's a good thing. And I say when he transferred, even, like, it must be a good thing.
Yeah.
If he
really speaks to Johnny Dixon right there.
Yeah.
He probably came in here thinking like, oh, I'm the obvious starter across from King, and then Dixon's going to rotate in. But I mean, Dixon really put it on towards the end of last year, and if he kept that momentum going through spring, and Storm came in, and it's like there's no obvious path I'm going to start. Like, obviously, he would have played here. I mean, there's no ifs or buts about that. He was going to play, but I'm sure leaving North Carolina and coming here, he thought he was going to be an obvious starter, and if that wasn't guaranteed after the spring, I think that just speaks to how Dixon was looking and what he did in the offseason to go back on what happened last year.
Yeah, to me, it that's honestly exciting in a way. If a veteran guy who a lot of people think is a top 10 corner in the country didn't feel comfortable that he was going to start here. It makes me feel really good about this unit. And with the safeties, I know these guys are younger, but everyone loves Winston, Reed, and Wheatley. You read 247 on 3, even the coaches, they all talk about these 3 guys, all younger guys. Everyone's pretty high on them. So Ellis is kind of their leader. The veteran guy is nice. And then you have 3 guys, maybe more talented than him. But I think it's a good combination of the veteran and then a lot of young talent behind them at safety.
And they're young and inexperienced, but I mean, we were talking about that 3rd-year jump of a lot of players, and Reed and Wheatley are getting that this year. They've played a ton of football here.
Yeah.
So it's really just doing it in the game and doing it more consistently than they've done. We've seen flashes of it. Wheatley had 2 turnovers in the first 3 games last year and then kind of fell off. So it's really doing that consistently over the year and not having those highs and lows throughout the season.
Exactly.
This is another unit. As we go through these one by one, like, there's a lot of people leaving after this year. Like, you really, really want to see them put it all together in 2023 because it's going to be very inexperienced.
That's something I definitely want to hit on when we do our season prediction, because when I was going through it, there's a lot of J's and S's next to these guys.
And the J's are like
our
all American level J's, but many of them, right? So
it's an older team than I think people give it credit for or think. It is. I think people look at.
They look at Singleton, Allen, and Aller and say it's like a super.
And I guess Carter a little too. They look at them like, oh, it's a young team. It's really not. It outside of those, and I know. Look, Aller plays the most important position on the roster. Really, orchestrates the whole offense. Kind of the guy we're looking to get Penn State over the hump of Ohio State and Michigan. And it's understandable that he's a young guy, so people look at it like that. But this is a very veteran roster around him, and that's going to help him significantly, I think.
Yep.